All right, let's dive into a skill that is an absolute game changer in algebra, expanding brackets. It might look simple, but I'm telling you, mastering this is one of the most fundamental tools you can have in your toolkit. We're going to unlock it today.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the absolute foundation, the key rules you got to know. Then we'll get into mastering single brackets. After that, we'll take on the double bracket challenge. I'll show you 2 awesome methods to handle them, and we'll wrap up by looking at the big picture, this really cool idea called equivalence. Let's do it. First things first, we've got to build a solid foundation. If we get these basic rules right from the get-go, everything else we're going to do today will be so much easier. Now, expanding brackets doesn't happen in a vacuum. It actually builds on a few skills you probably already have. Things like multiplying terms, being comfortable with positive and negative numbers, and knowing your way around index notation. Think of this as our little warm-up before the main event. And here is a super important concept, collecting like terms. Honestly, this is our cleanup step. After we do all the expanding, things can look a little messy. This is how we simplify it all, how we make it neat and tidy by grouping together all the terms that have the same variables. Okay, foundation is set, you're ready. Let's move on to the first tool we're really going to master today, how to expand a single bracket. So that brings us to the big question, right? How do we actually do this? Well, it's a really straightforward process you can use every single time. First, you just spot the term that's sitting outside the bracket. Now, here's the most critical part. You have to multiply that outside term by every single term inside, not just the first one. That's the #1 mistake people make. Once you've done that, you just write out your new expression, and then, you guessed it, you simplify by collecting those like terms. Now, there are a couple of special cases you need to watch out for, because they can trip you up. A plus sign in front of a bracket? Easy. It's basically like multiplying everything by +1. But a minus sign? That's the sneaky one. That means you have to multiply every term inside by -1. It's so easy to forget to distribute that negative all the way through, so really keep an eye out for that. All right, you've totally got single brackets down. So, you ready to level up? Let's take on the double bracket challenge. This is where the real fun begins. Okay, if you only remember one thing from this entire explainer, please make it this, right here. This is the golden rule. Every single term in the first bracket has to be multiplied by every single term in the second one. No shortcuts, no exceptions. This is the one principle that makes the whole thing work. So how can we make sure we stick to that golden rule and don't miss anything? Well, let's open up your toolkit because I'm about to show you 2 powerful, totally reliable methods to get the job done right every time. So we've got 2 great options here. First up is the grid method. If you're a visual person, you're going to love this. It organizes everything perfectly so you don't make any silly mistakes. Then we have the split method. This one's a more direct algebraic way of doing it, and it's awesome for doing quick mental math once you get the hang of it. So how does this grid method work? It's all about organization. You literally draw a grid. You put the terms from the first bracket down the side, and the terms from the second bracket across the top. Then, each little box in that grid is just one of the multiplications you need to do. It's practically a foolproof map to make sure you hit every single combination. And here you can see exactly what I mean. See how we have x and +2 on the side and x and +3 along the top? Then we just fill in the boxes. So x times x gets us x², x times 3 is 3x, and you just keep going. It's so clean and visual, it's almost impossible to miss a step. So once your grid is completely full, guess what? The hard work is over. Seriously, you just write out all 4 of those terms you just calculated, and then you do that final cleanup step we talked about. Collect your like terms, and bam, you've got your beautiful, simplified final answer. Okay, now for the split method. This one is less visual, yeah, but it's incredibly direct. You just take the first bracket and split it into its 2 separate terms. Then you multiply each of those terms by the entire second bracket. And here's the really clever part. You've just turned one tricky double bracket problem into 2 easy single bracket problems, which you already know how to do. And would you look at that, we get the exact same answer we got with the grid method. That's the key here. It doesn't matter which method you pick, they're just 2 different roads that lead to the exact same place. So just choose the one that clicks for you. So we've nailed the how. We know how to do it. But what about the why? I mean, why are we doing this in the first place? Let's zoom out to the big picture and talk about this really powerful idea called equivalence. This right here, this is the whole point. The expression you start with, the one with the brackets, is equivalent to the expanded expression you end up with. They are what mathematicians call identities. They might look different on the surface, but underneath, their value is exactly the same.
Think of it like this. You haven't actually changed the math at all. All you've done is rewritten it in a new form. You've taken its compact bracketed form and revealed its expanded form underneath. Same expression, different outfit. So there you have it. Expanding brackets isn't just some random procedure you have to memorize. It's a powerful tool for rewriting expressions so you can understand them in a new way. And now that you have this tool in your kit, the only question left is, what expressions are you going to unlock?